Hey there, wonderful people. It is Mark here from Not Defining. I hope you're doing so well. Today, I want to go into the top 10 most common asexual identities. And I hope that by doing this, we can all learn and hopefully you can see whether there are any of those in the list that you relate to. This is Not Defining, the place where we delve really deep into identities, the LGBT spectrum, sexuality, gender, sex, love, and relationships, and all of those things, talking about the parts that don't always get represented or talked about. So let's get started with number one. The first one is sex repulsed asexual. Sometimes this can be referred to as apothesexual. You will notice as I go down the list that a lot of the sexuality prefixes are from Greek. And in Greek, apothe literally means repulsed by or repelled by. So some asexual people are genuinely completely repelled by even the idea of sex. They don't want it. They don't want anything to do with it. For them, it really just feels like something they cannot imagine ever wanting to do. It's like, ugh, no, hate it, right? The second asexual identity is demisexual. So demisexual is somebody who generally doesn't experience sexual attraction unless they have a particularly special or intimate bond with somebody. So not every asexual person is repulsed by sex. A lot of asexual people will enjoy sex, but they might have to have, a special trusting emotional bond first, and then they can kind of get into it and they can experience it with that person. The third identity is Fraysexual. Now, Fraysexual is kind of the opposite to demisexual. So whereas demisexual is about a close bond needing to be had and then sexual attraction happens, Fraysexual is about sexual attraction happening, but then when you get a close bond, you get to know someone, you get an emotional connection, the sexual attraction kind of goes away. So a Fraysexual person might be able to, for example, experience a fantasy about someone, right? They might be able to look at someone on the street and go, yeah, they're sexy. But when it comes to actually having a relationship, actually knowing someone deeply, having that bond, maybe a romantic connection, an emotional connection, something like that, they find that their sexual attraction just diminishes. By the way, if you would like to meet other asexual people, get one-on-one mentoring from me, and join our wonderful group sessions, you can join us on patreon.com/notdefining. We would love to see you. I also talk about asexuality in my book, Fluid, for anyone who has a kind of fluid, changing, shifting, or questioning approach to their sexuality. So you can check all of that in the links below. I also provide coaching one-on-one. If you are struggling with anything, we can work together and get you to where you need to be. So the next one is Graysexual. From Frey to Grey. So Graysexual is an identity which suggests that the person does experience sexual attraction, but they experience it to a very low degree. I'm actually Graysexual myself. This is something that describes me quite well. I experience sexual attraction. Like I find people attractive. I understand sex. I have fantasies. All of that. But I just don't experience it very much. It's not a huge part of my life, and I perceive most other people to have a much more prominent sense of sexual attraction. So if you feel sexual attraction, but just kind of like a very low level, you might describe yourself as Graysexual. It's worth mentioning at this point that none of these identities are set in stone. None of them are clear cut. You can use one of them or two of them, or you can chop and change depending on the situation. it really is just up to you. Number 5 is reciprosexual. Reciprosexual does what it says on the tin. The person who is reciprosexual will experience sexual attraction only if they feel that it is reciprocated back towards them. So reciprosexual is quite an interesting one. It's, you might not proactively experience attraction. You might not see someone on the street and go, oh yeah, into them. But if somebody is attracted to you, it may engender feelings of sexual attraction towards them. For reciprosexual, it's all about the dynamic, right? It's all about that interchange. It's all about that interplay of feeling attractive, or that someone is attracted to you, and then you kind of feed off of that. The next identity is lithosexual. Now, lithosexual is the opposite to reciprosexual. So lithosexual is somebody who can experience sexual attraction, but really doesn't like it when it's reciprocated. Okay, are you getting confused? There's more. So lithosexual people might feel a fantasy, they might feel attracted to someone, they might, see someone on the street again and, think, oh yeah, they're attractive. But if somebody then reciprocates that and says, oh yeah, I'm really into you as well, they might lose it. They might think, well, I don't really like this, right? So lithosexual person might be someone who they like sexual attraction in theory, but they don't really want to kind of act it out. They don't really feel comfortable with handling those emotions and those kind of like dynamics of somebody else being attracted to you. So that's lithosexual. Number 7 is Aegosexual. Aegosexual is somebody who, similar perhaps to lithosexual, but it's somebody who does experience fantasy, but they don't want to act on it, right? So they might have alone time with themselves. They might, think of sexual thoughts. They may watch adult content, right? So they may have a very alive kind of inner sexual world. But when it comes to actually going out and having sex with someone, it's not something that they desire to do. The next one is Cupiosexual. Cupiosexual is kind of the inverse to Aegosexual a little bit. So Cupiosexual describes somebody who doesn't tend to experience sexual attraction, but they do enjoy the act of having sex or sexual contact. So it might be someone who they just don't really conjure it up themselves. Like they don't really have fantasies. They don't really think about sex. It's not like something that they would really spend much time desiring, but they do really like the experience of being intimate with someone, right? So they like the feel of skin on skin. They like how it feels sensually, the sensation, right, in their bodies, intercourse, foreplay. They like that act, right? But it doesn't necessarily come naturally when they're by themselves. So that's Cupiosexual. If anybody has different experiences of these, if anybody, listens to my definitions and go, hold on, well, actually, that's not quite how it is for me, or if anyone has any questions about these or wants to add anything, then please let us know in the comments. We're here to learn, so let's all share. Coming in at number 9 is Aceflux. Now, Aceflux simply means that you have a fluid sense of your asexuality. So a lot of people might feel asexual some of the time, but then other times they may find themselves experiencing some form of sexual desire, right? It might go up and down, or maybe they feel that they are asexual for a certain time in their lives, and then at a certain point in their lives it kind of changes. Either it increases or it decreases. That might all be described as Aceflux. And finally, last but certainly not least, number 10 is Acespike. I think this is the coolest name of all of them. Acespike is a little bit connected to Aceflux, and it describes somebody who may experience spikes of sexual attraction. Okay, so probably an Acespike person would not experience sexuality, not experience sexual attraction, but then they have like certain moments of very intense feelings that may come and go very quickly, and it feels like a bit of a spike, right? Sometimes this can be difficult because they're like, oh wow, I'm feeling it. Whoa, what should I do with it? And then as soon as it's arrived, it kind of goes away. So that could be described as Acespike. As I say, none of these words are set in stone. So if it's helpful to describe yourself with one of these or one or more of these, then by all means, but there's no need to define yourself, as we are here at Not Defining. That's something we know. So do you relate with any of these? Do you have any questions? Like I said, please come to me for coaching, mentoring. There's so much support there if you're figuring this out. And click the links below to see what support is available. I hope this has been helpful. If you would like more information on asexuality and to learn more about my asexual identity, check out these videos coming up. And I will see you again very, very soon. Thank you so much for listening. Bye for now.